My name is Maria Margarita Portilla. I usually go by Margarita Portilla. I'm a Clemson University student, bioengineering with electrical concentration. Um, as our requirements, we are to participate in a dialogue about controversial aspects of our society today, and I chose internationality. Um, I was not born in the U.S. and neither were my parents. Therefore, I'm an international student to an extent. Um, Although you wouldn't see it, I do see a lot of um, differences within my culture and the American culture. This was one of the reasons why I chose internationality because I feel like that's one of the differences between me and other students, and I felt like I could put a lot of input towards that. Um, with the dialogue, we had to talk about internationality, and there's some questions given to us to address in our vlog, so I'll go ahead and address those and continue talking about the dialogue as we go forth. The first one was, do you feel as if your group achieved true dialogue? Why or why not? Honestly, I don't feel like we achieved true dialogue, only because there's only a couple people participating throughout most of the dialogue, and true dialogue to me is getting input from everyone within the conversation. Um, that could possibly not happen with a large group of people, but putting your 2 cents in gives us an overall view of what everyone thinks, which changes it from a debate to a dialogue, as we said in our at the beginning of our vlog. At the beginning of our dialogue. And this lack of participation, I think, also hinders dialogue, because it's not always the majority is dominant. The minority has a voice too. If you agree, say you agree. If you don't, then say you don't. Or if you're in the middle, say why. I think that's the only way of doing true dialogue, because then you get everybody's voice, and then you can make a decision on that, or actually learn something from others just because they said something you hadn't thought about. Second question is, share your observations of the group dynamic. I was already talking about this, but group dynamic, it wasn't horrible, but there were very strong voices. I was one of them, and there was people that just didn't talk, which it's okay in a way, but I think as I said, I think it hindered a lot of the dialogue, and it was either too early in the morning, or I guess, I don't know, it was a requirement, so I guess people felt it as I have to do this rather than I want to do this, which also changes the dynamic. But I spoke because I was tired of sitting there in silence. When they asked us a question, I'd give people a chance to talk, and if nobody said something, I would say something. But I also do see that I was I could have probably hindered the dialogue because I was a dominant voice. I don't feel myself as intimidating or whatever, but I voiced out my opinions, which could be good and could be bad. But I guess you just have to do what you have to do to get it through. Third question is, why do you think dialogue is a component of Lib 100? Do you see dialogue as a useful tool in your university experience? I completely understand why dialogue is component in our Lib 100 things, because if you don't know how to talk to people, how are you expected to work with your average person when you're out in the world? Like, if you can't say that something's wrong, then how are you supposed to like stop it? If you can't voice out your opinion or even just figure out whether you are wrong, then how are you supposed to like go on in your everyday life? Like, there's people that have opinions, like they can impact some of the worst things on other people, and they can hinder them too. If you can't talk in a calmly manner, if you can't get your voice across, like, you know, you're basically, you know, on your own, because I mean, you can't do anything if you can't talk to people. How are you supposed to like live? But I just feel like it's really important to like learn how to talk to people, how to get your opinion across, how to understand other people's opinion too. Like, if it's different and you don't like it, like the way you react to it is also very important as well, because you can either have really good relations with people or you cannot. You have to learn to understand that other people have other opinions. You have to learn to tolerate, or else, you know, this world's gonna go down. But to instill in us the concept of dialogue and to learn how to talk to other people is very important for our future. I understand the importance of it and why Clemson puts an importance of it. It's one of our requirements to graduate, period. Because if we don't pass this, then, you know, we didn't do what we were supposed to. It also gives us some responsibility on things that we need to do, which is also awesome and great, but a burden on us. But, you know, that's part of responsibility. And our going to the fourth question and final question, additional thoughts. Honestly, my dialogue, I expected a lot more from it. I expect very different things, as per like not being from here. I thought we were gonna focus more on the difficulties of integrating into American society by being international, having a different culture. But I feel like we focus more on the differences, and although I do feel like that's good, I feel like the importance of differences gives way to a lot of bad things. But um, it was interesting. You know, it was very interesting in the fact that we learned a lot and we got to say what was on our mind. Um, there's just a lot of things that people wanted to ask and people wanted to know. And one basic thing, or like one very important thing that I thoroughly enjoyed throughout the whole dialogue, was in the very end, where we learned about aspects of ourselves that are very important to us. Currently, right now, my nationality is very important to me, because I see the differences between culture, I see the differences between societies, and I mean, that's fine, but I put an importance on that right now, as per other things. But that was really good. It was very big eye opener, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, as for the new student dialogues, I thought it was interesting. Could have been better, but it was very interesting. But yeah, that was my full extent of my experience of this new student dialogues. And with that, I leave, and hopefully my thoughts were good and helped in some kind of way. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you later. Bye.